I'm Christopher Pelham, Director of CRS Center for Remembering and Sharing, and I am here with Sita Chay, violinist, composer, and producer. And Sita will be performing at CRS this Saturday night, December 2nd, 6 p.m., with Satoshi Takeishi, a wonderful percussionist. And Sita, you previously performed earlier in the year at CRS as part of Shoko Nagai's Tokala, which performed music of the Silk Road from the Balkans through Central Asia, Korea, and Japan.
Yeah.
But this time you're planning to do something a little different.
Yeah, so we're exploring Korean court music that is more Korean style. There's also more Confucius court music that is more broadly, I think, shared in Asia, East Asia, and the shamanic. Satoshi and I have this in common. We love the spirits of the Korean music. So we are also keeping it in that realm where the court music is not just about the formality, but being also more curious about the spiritual aspect. We're imagining something spiritual, something shamanic that was already underlying the culture that is underneath this court music. So there is over bleeding of shamanic music to the folk music. My interest in folk music and traditional music started in New York around the Silk Road. I was exposed to, this is not exactly Silk Road, but I was exposed to klezmer music through Shostakovich. A lot of classical music also have a lot of folk music. Mozart has Turkish march and Brahms has Hungarian. And that took me closer and closer to Korea, kind of through Silk Road. I wasn't really connected to Korean traditional music at the time, but
you studied classical music growing up, right?
Yeah. So all my life, I was really most heavily exposed and educated in classical music area, and I was very passionate about it. I was digging deeper and deeper what was the inspiration for the composers back then, the ones that I really, really loved. It was actually my love for classical music that took me further to the folk music and imagining them being inspired by the folk music. And I loved Brahms so much. And I read some letters of him with gypsies, and I was so interested in Sarasate's gypsy music. And there was a recording of Sarasate that I could hear him playing Zigeunerweisen by himself, and Brahms playing Hungarian dances. There's a recording of that. So all of that took me step by step, country by country towards Korea. And basically in 2003, I went to Korea after 7 years of being away and never going back. I saw a Korean traditional music from a completely different perspective that I didn't have before. And I was like, oh, wow, there's something so beautiful there that I didn't see before. And realizing that I'm seeing that beauty more as an outsider, not as Korean person in Korea, I felt a kind of a calling or inspiration to, if I see this beauty from an outsider view, maybe other people will also see it. Because I think before I had that fear, maybe people don't care about Korean music, that kind of thing. And seeing so many beautiful aspects, like vibrato being something's different, but also similar to the ones that I see in Indian music, and I'm noticing some similarities back then. So I got into Korean folk music, traditional music. I studied Korean music composition in Korea and learned all this Korean traditional instruments. I was just really compelled to do it. I didn't have a agenda of what I would do with it for my career or anything. And then I came back to New York and I was kind of sad, I did this for 6 years, but I don't know what to do in New York with that. I guess I felt still like insecure about it. And meeting, wonderful musicians, and especially like Satoshi, who understands Korean music from a very global perspective, but also from like a very internal. He goes to Korea like several times a year, collaborates, and really studies and internalizes the spirituality of Korean Shaman music. And also, like, I learned from him the perspective of the Korean court music, because there's similarity that's very influenced by Chinese court music, and that they have something similar in Japan. So I get a broader perspective of what I saw as Korean court music, and now we are bringing it together. What he knows, what he's interested in, and what I'm interested in and inspired by. Yeah, having that common ground and something that's not always the same common ground really helps me to expand further and befriend the different territory. That's the kind of new thing for me, I guess. I have been doing mostly shamanic, exploring mostly in the shamanic tradition. And I realized, actually, it was one of the court music that drew me. The first music that drew me to Korean music was the court music. It's a very interesting question for me. What does it mean to be a part of history, part of the lineage, and what kind of step am I taking intentionally? I think that's also something I'm interested in. We're giving ourselves permission to really experiment. Both Satoshi and I enjoy feeling that similarity in the culture, like feeling that, I have ability to connect with tradition as well as now, and as well as with someone who is not Korean. And myself also, I can't say I'm not like trained Korean traditional musician like the ones who are trained all their lives. So it's kind of like a playground, like a joyful, playful place where we are really seeing how far we can connect with each other and connect with New York too. Like, it's really meaningful for me to share it here, where people have curiosity, openness. We discover our capacity to embrace and extend in New York very much. I mean, that's what I really love about New York.
I always feel that you try to go as deeply as possible into yourselves. You've taken in, a lot of music. You've studied and listened a lot, and you've absorbed all this stuff. But when it comes time to play, I feel you're really, in your bodies, and so it's a really magical. So we're really, really looking forward to having you Saturday.
Thank you so much for saying that. I really love the word Paradise Laboratory. And I can just tune into it very quickly. So it's very meaningful for us to be part of that bigger arch of that. So thank you for having us.
One other thing I like to add is that you are the mother of a toddler. And you've been enormously productive while being a mother. I say that because we believe as a venue, as a presenting organization, that it is really important and and joyful to recognize and include parents and and children in our programming. To provide childcare options or reimbursement to musicians who are parents, to be child friendly at the shows.
My playing changes. I mean, obviously, my energy changes depending on who is in the audience. And I guess, I mean, I love children in general, but of course, having a child, I love that eye contact. That inspiration, because I do believe we all come with our own genius, and they, when they are fresh in the world, they have all of that. They have joy, like they are never lack of curiosity. I think what I'm so in awe of, like, curiosity like changes so many things about relationship and creativity and so on. And I noticed they're never struggling to find curiosity. It's just like overflowing and joy and playfulness and like honesty, like all of that is actually what I'm really striving for as an adult and as an artist. So their presence really, gives me that raw, natural access to what I strive for. I personally really, really love it. And I even like in my own work process, like I would try to record something and then my daughter would say something or scream or cry or laugh. And then hearing that retrospectively, I love the natural peaks and that is created by their presence because it feels so alive. So yeah, I can't say enough how much I love it personally. And it's very, very heartwarming to hear like a venue being open to that because I know it's definitely more challenging to create certain, I guess, formality, but I'm one artist who would love that.
If you guys would like to know more about Sita, you can check our website, sitachay.com. She has a lot of media up there and lots and lots of music. She has a Grammy-winning album, Mariachi music.
Flor de Toloache.
So just a great variety of beautiful music to check out. Thank you so much, Sita.
Thank you. So fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for Saturday night.
Me too.
All right. See you soon.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.